Good morning. I assume you can all hear me. Everyone's nodding. Good. I thought I'd start off with a story and a fact which caught my imagination a couple of days ago. Do you have any idea the average compensation for a Facebook employee? Remove Mark. It's an extraordinary number. It's almost $250,000 a year. And the thing that, when we were building this presentation, struck me was we need to communicate not only the reality that the retailers find themselves faced with today and the complexity, but actually the organization challenge of when you think about the risks posed by dark social machine learning, you're going to have to navigate those risks. You're also going to have to navigate your own organization, and it's going to be bloody hard. Let me tell you a quick story. We opened our office in New York, and the Financial Times rang us. And they said, would you come and present at a conference we're running? There's going to be about 100 people. And we said, that sounds manageable. That sounds sensible. 2 days before, they had the Cambridge Analytica story broke. And I don't know if you recall, but at the time, nobody from Facebook would put themselves forward to talk. Tucked away on a panel somewhere, there was someone from Facebook, and someone from Google. And so this room, rather than 100 people, it was jam-packed with about 400, 450 people, all wanting to hear about how Facebook were going to respond to the challenge faced by the risks associated with technology. And this, in fairness, this woman very bravely turned up, sat on the panel, and incredibly articulate. But you could see her grappling with the reality. This is the existential threat we have to address the issue, to de-risk my business. This is my issue. The average pay is £250,000 a year, dollars a year. Can you imagine changing that organization, that business model, now? Hard fucking work. Let's make it fun though. So, we are lucky enough to be invited into organizations to help them think through risk, processes, and how you make more money, frankly. And so we have videos and case studies of what it's like. And so this is a case study from an organization who thinks that technology is the answer to solving somebody's problems. And I don't know if it resonates with you.
Morning.
Morning.
I have to say, I slept splendidly. Granted, not long, but just deeply and well.
I'm not surprised. A well-known folk cure for insomnia is to break into your neighbor's apartment and clean.
Sarcasm?
You think?
Granted, my methods may have been somewhat unorthodox, but I think the end result will be a measurable enhancement of Penny's quality of life.
You know what? You convinced me. Maybe tonight we should sneak in and shampoo her carpet.
You don't think that crosses a line?
Yes. For God's sake, Sheldon, do I have to hold up a sarcasm sign every time I open my mouth?
You have a sarcasm sign?
No, I do not have a sarcasm sign.
You want some cereal? I feel so good today, I'm gonna choose from the low-fiber end of the shelf. Hello, Honey Puffs.
Son of a bitch!
Penny's up.
You sick, geeky bastard!
How did she know it was us?
I may have left a suggested organizational schematic for her bedroom closet.
Leonard!
God, this is gonna be bad.
Goodbye, Honey Puffs. Hello, Big Bran.
You came into my apartment last night while I was sleeping?
Yes, but only to clean.
Really more to organize. You're not actually dirty, per se.
Give me back my key.
I'm very, very sorry.
Do you understand how creepy this is?
Oh, yes, we discussed it at length last night.
In my apartment while I was sleeping.
And snoring. And that's probably just a sinus infection. But it could be sleep apnea. You might want to see an otolaryngologist. The throat doctor.
And what kind of doctor removes shoes from asses?
Depending on the depth, that's either a proctologist or a general surgeon.
I'll kill it there. Utterly well intended, disastrous outcome. And it's really, for me, the story of dark social and machine learning and AI, the inordinate risks, the potential offered, and the inordinate risks. So we write books on this stuff. Our first book came out 3 or 4 years ago. It's one of the best-selling books on e-commerce in the UK. Looks like that. The next book comes out in, I think, Q1, January next year. And it's forced us to think through some of these bigger issues that are driving e-commerce and businesses today. And we're lucky enough to go and have to think about this. The first thing that's fascinating for me is that we're told that business is based on trust. There's an whole industry built around building trust in brands. Well, let's go and unpack that a little bit. It turns out it's a bit of a myth. And the issue is organizations confuse two things going on. They confuse trust and confidence. Let me explain that in a bit more detail and then bring it to life. Trust can only exist between people. It's interpersonal. When does it happen? My son is getting some new glasses, or getting his first pair of glasses this evening. He will walk into the opticians and he will ask for the advice from probably his mum or his dad and their shop assistant. And he'll start to trust the brand and the person he's in the store with. It's a transparent relationship. Confidence is fundamentally different. It's one way. You build it's a transaction-based relationship where you're looking to reinforce the promise of your delivery. The interesting thing for me is trust is fragile. Confidence is contractual. And if you sit in the contractual place, in the confidence place, you make more money and there's less risk. And here's the rub. So when you move it out of the theatrical into the very interesting papers written, then you turn it into the real world, what does that look like? Well, the first thing is businesses need to focus on confidence, but the issue is they need to change. And so how do you bridge that? Well, let's talk about how not to do it. I called them I was practicing this on the train this morning. I called it face snap, Snapchat. Do you remember the beginning of the year when they decided it was time to release their latest, newer version? In a matter of weeks, 1.2 million people had signed a petition demanding the old version. Weeks. 1.5 billion was wiped off their share price. So when we talk about technology, talk in terms of risk. 1.5 billion. If you go and we do this, if you go and look at the communication that came out from Snapchat at the time, it was fascinating. They were demanding to their user base to make more money. You have to adopt this new interface because we need to make more money from you. Why? Our investors. What an impossibly difficult problem to solve. So how are we going to do it? The challenge is, this creates can you imagine the bunker mentality, the organization tension, realizing that? Is that they on the one hand, they've got this audience that has opted in to use their tool to communicate as a free community, and then they're told they need to use it in a different way because we need to make more money out of you. It's a mess. Two days ago, do you see the FT headline? The chief strategy officer's gone, the CFO is gone. It's all about risk. And here's the thing, I'm slightly nervous delivering the next 2 slides as I look across the 50 pieces of technology that apparently can make the world quicker, faster, better. Machines, and this is the rub, are disintermediating between the customer and the supplier. Somebody's sitting between you and your people who want to use you or spend money with you. My team who are sat on the end there, they said, "Oh, James, don't use this slide. It's a bloody nightmare." And I said, no, my audience, I trust them to come through this. So this, many of you may have seen it before. This is the tools and technology that you can use to manage e-commerce and marketing digitally. It's great, isn't it? And here's why I think you'll find it a bit more interesting. If you look very, very carefully in your top right-hand corner, it's the date, 2014. Ah, I hear you say. 2017. If you're the CEO of a business and your board is telling you, like we saw this morning in a FTSE 250 retailer, we're not e-commerce enough, we're not online enough. How on earth are you going to navigate this world? And what is the culture that responds to this bombardment of, trust me, we can make you quicker, faster, better? Well, of course, and now this gets practical. So phones out, photograph these next 3 or 4 slides, or buy the book, or call me. 4 things that we need to think about. And then we get into the ethical debate, and that's going to be fun. And you can see people who do this well, LinkedIn, I'll talk about LinkedIn in a moment, and who fuck it up. Don't swear, James, as my mother always told me, particularly in an audience. Test ideas. It sounds so simple. But why didn't Snapchat test to start with? Manage stakeholders. Snap, I'm sure, particularly thoughtful business, they managed a whole series of stakeholders, except the one that needed the most active management, their community. That's their one differentiating factor. Explicit contracts are my example from LinkedIn. Have you ever read your T's and C's? I haven't. We have lots of them. Go and look at LinkedIn's T's and C's. It's the only ones I've read. They're super exciting. Why? On the left hand, on desktop this is, on the left hand side, you have all the usual sort of stuff. And then next to it, 5 or 6 words describing each one. We're taking this data, we're going to use it here. It's brilliant, thoughtful, explicit, and clear. And then final, pace and agility. You can't make users, customers, behave as you want to. You need to understand, if you put something new into the market, what is your recovery process to make sure it delivers to their expectations? For photographers, this is the thing. Customers will not trust your website. You can work bloody hard to ensure they have confidence in it. That's where organizations fail. Don't buy the Kool-Aid, de-risk the purchase decision, and deliver against that. If you say you're going to deliver at 7 o'clock tomorrow morning, you better do it. If you don't promise it. You ruin it. 87 million people had their data extracted and then used as they hadn't agreed to with the Facebook challenge. And today we're still feeling the ramifications of that in the world. There's 3 issues they're grappling with. 1, the business model. 2, the culture, the $250 million a year issue. Oh my God, how are we going to manage this? And then finally, the advertiser. Christ, we need them to spend more money with us and keep doing that. How are we going to grapple with that? It's a fascinating problem. And of course, it throws up a whole lot of philosophical questions or ethical questions that we are in no place to answer. So we do what we're best at. We talk about how to make more money. And this is probably the final slide you want to photograph. And if you wait 2 seconds, you get a better picture because you have the 5 bullet points, and then you get the real questions you should go and ask your businesses. And I'll talk about my mum again. So 5 things: data manipulation, machine learning, message manipulation, social media management, and customer control. So photograph this slide. These are the questions, and you'll see they're commercial business questions that your organization needs to grapple with. When you get asked by very good vendors that what we have here can make you quicker, faster, better, these are the questions you need to ask yourself, and they fall into these buckets. Data manipulation. How much judgment is involved in the decisions about how we use data? If you're the CEO of the FTSE retailer who lost their job this morning, How close are you to some of the decisions your organization are making around the use of data? First question. Machine learning. What are your strategies for the what if it goes wrong? Have you got the business case that says, if we lose this audience over here, we might lose 1.5 billion. Should we do that? And have we planned for it? You can bet your bottom dollar that Snapchat hadn't done that. If customers could see all your messaging, would that concern you? My business partner, he's a professor. He has this great story of, which is sort of the same theme, is if your mother saw all your marketing messaging and your email comms, would you be embarrassed? And if the answer is yes, change it. How confident are we your social media is driving a measurable commercial return? Again, stories. Toronto, a couple of weeks ago, CEO of a big publisher, and he said to me, James, we spend $500,000 a year distributing our content through social media. A year ago, I set my team the challenge, demonstrate it gives me revenue. 12 months gone, no demonstration, £500,000 saving. Be demanding, be challenging. There's some extraordinarily success to be had in social. It might not give you revenue, or it might not give you the better return. Have a think about it. And then finally, how much control do you allow your customers to have over their own data? Go and look at LinkedIn. They do it really nicely. Finally, you have questions. Apparently, I've got 2 minutes. They're looking at me. 2 minutes. And I can hear you, and I'll relay your question back. So go on. Buy the book, call me, or ask me a question. Anybody?
Has anybody got a question? Got a microphone there, or you can use Slido. I mean, actually, anybody? Because I've got a question.
Okay, go
My
for it.
introduction to you was how to protect shareholder value in customers before it's too late. What point is too late?
Well, 1.5 billion would be a bit too late. I think it's for me, it's where you start. So the risk and opportunity is that organizations are promised, if you do this, we can get you to faster revenue growth, greater market share. But if you don't start with understanding, so who are our stakeholders and how are we going to operate there successfully, that's where you need to start. The technology decisions flow from that, but it starts with the simple question of how are we going to operate this? For me, I'll jump on that simple question. Hi everybody, it was a great session. If you ask pure plays in particular, so our most recent client is a pure play, one of the largest travel companies in the world. And they have huge teams working very, very hard thinking about all this stuff. The one bit of data they don't have is that they don't know why their customers don't buy. They have extraordinary amounts of data, extraordinary analytics. They don't know why their customers don't buy. And that you get from a 10-grand piece of software you can wrap around your site and ask some questions on. And that's fun. Anyway, that's it. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
I hope that's helpful.
Thank you, James.
Thank you.